Good morning. Oh no, we don't hear you all. Good morning.
Good morning.
Bill Beatty once said, "The aim of education should be to teach us how to think rather than what to think."
Bob Talbert once said, "Teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts is best."
I am Kathleen Grigsby, the 2018-2019 JPS Administrator of the Year and Principal of Barack Obama Magnet Elementary, the #1 elementary school 2 years in a row. Y'all, my people are up there, let me hear you.
And I am Malika Quarterman, the 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year, and I represent Power APAC Elementary School, the best performing arts school in the state of Mississippi.
We would like to welcome you to the 2018-2019 Convocation for Jackson Public School District.
Whether you are on the front line, in the classrooms, or you serve in a support capacity, you are an integral part of the process of education in Jackson.
We are often asked, what are the qualities of a great teacher and administrator? It's no secret that JPS has some of the greatest teachers and administrators in the world, right? We'd like to take a few moments to describe a few of the characteristics of the great teachers and principals.
As teachers, we are passionate about teaching and working with children. We set high expectations for our students, and we encourage them to always work at their best level. We establish objectives for each class and work daily to meet those specific objectives during each class.
As principals, we ensure our schools are welcoming places for all students and their families. We constantly work to create positive changes at our schools to improve the culture and learning environment. And we collaborate with our colleagues, teachers, librarians, counselors, and our parents to ensure that we are providing the best possible education.
Please join us for a round of applause for all the great JPS teachers and principals in the house today. We would also like you to feel free to use your cell phone to take photos and tweet during this festive occasion. Follow us on Twitter at TransformingJPS.
So we're going to take that opportunity to do ours right now. Do I have my good side?
Oh, all your sides are good.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we won, was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled
Thank you. You may be seated at this time. At this time, please allow me to introduce our distinguished guests who are committed to transforming lives through excellent education. Please hold your applause until all of our guests have been introduced. Honorable guests, please stand as I call your name. First, we have the members of the Jackson Public Schools Board of Trustees, our board president, Jean Hairston, Dr. Ed Sivak, vice president, Miss Barbara Hilliard, secretary, Miss Letitia Johnson, Miss Andrea Jones-Davis, Dr. Robbie Luckett, and Mr. Frank Figures. Thank you very much. Joining them, we also have our superintendent, Dr. Errick Greene, our keynote speaker, Reverend Kevin Muriel, our city council members, and our honorable mayor, Chokwe Lumumba. Thank you so much for your dedication to this city and for Jackson Public Schools.
The program will proceed as follows. Greetings by Superintendent Dr. Errick Greene. Words of encouragement by Mr. Willis Barker. A musical selection by Murrah High School's Jazz Ensemble. And brief remarks by Dr. Jean Hairston, Board President.
Greetings, Team JPS. Greetings, Team JPS. Listen, y'all better wake up. I know you had your turkey and your ham and you unwrapped gifts or wrapped gifts or whatever your role was, but it's time out for that. We're back. Greetings, Team JPS. So listen, I think one of the greatest pleasures of this job will be throwing these wonderful parties and compelling all 4,300 or so of your closest friends to come. So thank you all for coming to my party this morning. I do want to say welcome back from what I hope was a wonderful, restful, glorious winter break. For those of you who celebrated Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or any of those celebrations, for those of you who acknowledged our new year, just again, kudos to you, thanks to you. Really appreciate the fact that you took the time to be with family, to be in your communities, and just to be present and to be individuals, to step away from your roles as teachers, leaders, counselors, food service managers, whatever your role is here in JPS, but to be individuals and to be people. Because it's so important that you take the step, that each of us take that step back to still our minds and our souls, to be prepared to come back and do really, really great work here for our students and families. Amen? My name is Errick Greene, and as you know by now, I am the superintendent of Jackson Public Schools. And when people ask me about that, well, how do you feel about it? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Is it a daunting task? Are you coming in inspired? All those things? It's like, yes, all of the above. All of the above. Am I nervous about it? Absolutely. But do I feel encouraged by you, the people sitting out here in this audience, the people who have already said to me, we've got your back, we've got this, we can do this? Yes, I feel encouraged by that. Do I feel encouraged by all of the parents who have said such wonderful things about their experiences, what we've done with their students already and what we will do in the future? Their willingness to stand with us arm in arm, doing the hard work of educating young people? Yes, I'm encouraged by that. Am I encouraged by a mayor, by a governor, by members of our council, our board, all of the folks in the community who say we can do this? Yes, I'm encouraged by that. Am I encouraged by Ella Green Moten, who sits in Flint, Michigan, saying, listen, I'm not playing with you. Don't you go down there and disrespect that community or disrespect our family, you go do some amazing things. It's like, hey, okay, I guess I don't have a choice. I better do some things before mama comes to get me. I don't know how y'all roll in your family, but my mama's not playing. Like, she's no joke. So listen, friends, just for a couple of minutes, I want to share with you a few things that I have on my mind as we welcome one another back, as we prepare to move through this second half of this school year. Of course, I wasn't with you to start the year, and we haven't yet identified our major themes that we'll use and priorities that we'll use to guide our work over the next 3 to 5 years. But these are a few things that I value and value greatly, and I believe it's important to share with you. As someone who grew up in Flint, Michigan, who attended public schools, who attended Howard University and Trinity University, University of Pennsylvania, as someone who was a teacher, and before that, a mentor and a tutor to young people, a teacher in elementary, in middle schools, a school principal, a coach of teachers, a coach of principals, central office administrator. I've had lots of experiences that have led me to what I'm about to share with you now. While there are many other values that I could list, these are the 4 that really come to mind and that I believe drive so much of what I do and what I believe. 1, excellence. We have chosen the theme for this morning's convocation, transforming lives through education, excellent education. And I absolutely believe that it is excellence every day, excellence in everything that we do that will make the difference in the lives of our children and our communities. And that excellence, maybe today we see excellence is here. This is the standard we've set collectively. Perhaps tomorrow we will reevaluate and reset that standard here for excellence. And perhaps next year or a couple of years later, we will set it even higher. And so I imagine that the standard of excellence, as we continue our work together, growing, learning together, developing ourselves as a team, as a community of educators, I imagine that that standard of excellence will continue to climb higher and higher. But excellence is the mark. Not just good, not even great, but excellence. That's got to be our mark. And so that's my first prioritized value that I wanted to share with you. And that drive towards excellence has to be what gets us up in the morning and keeps us going through the day. Number 2, constant and continuous improvement. So while I know that I'm not a perfect man and I likely will never reach perfection, each and every day I am driving towards continuous improvement, improving myself as a person, improving myself as a leader, as an educator, improving the work that I do with each and every one of you, but improving how I live my life, continuous improvement. And while I'm not perfect and may never reach perfection, I am striving each and every day to be better than the day passed. Each week to be better than I was the last week. Each year to be better than I was last year. And I encourage each and every one of you to subscribe to the same. As educators, we've got to be lifelong learners, but not just learners, those who are striving to put into practice what we are learning. And so that means that I'm reading. That means that I'm watching and listening to others who are models of excellence. That means that I'm listening for, I am thriving on feedback from others. Not just giving it, but thriving on the feedback that I get from others so that I can be better today than I was yesterday, better tomorrow than I was today, and on and on. Excellence, continuous improvement. Number 3, service. I believe in service to the point where I have to check myself when I'm at the store and I don't get the service that I think I should be getting. point where I have to check myself when I'm in the line at the DMV. Not so much here, because it's pretty awesome here, but in other places, we'll say. In other places, I'm in the line at the DMV and somebody yells, "Next!" To the point where I have to check myself when I'm in a school or I call a school and somebody answers the phone and there's no love in their voice. Service. And it's not just us or those of us in schools with students and families. It's those of us in central office and the service that we provide to those of you who work in schools. It's all of us in the service that we provide to the community in general and at large. Service. I lead with a sense of service. I exist with a sense of service. Sure, I'm proud of some things that I've done. I'm proud of some things that I know and that I can do. But all of that has to be geared towards improved service for those to which I am in service. Service is my third value. And then the fourth, a strong and positive culture. One of the reasons that I was so excited to invite all of you to this party here this morning is because it's very hard to have a strong culture when you can't touch and agree with the folks on your team. If you don't have an opportunity to look each other in the eye and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I know you just had a loss in your family. Hey, I know that these holidays are tough on you because of the challenges that you've had in your family. I know that you just had a health scare. I'm thinking about you. Hey, guess what? I heard that your son just did something so amazing, and I just wanted to say kudos to you for being such an amazing parent. I'm looking at you, and I see that you're not quite smiling this morning, and so, you know what? I just want to encourage you this morning. It's going to be all right." Whatever it is, it's so important for us to spend time together as a community, not just to party as we are this morning, but to enjoy one another's company, to encourage one another along this path, to be one with others who are educators here in Jackson. This is an amazing opportunity that we have. Amazing. The fact that our governor and the mayor and our board members and members of the Kellogg Foundation, that they saw fit to create a third way, to identify an opportunity for us to not be taken over by the state, but to look inward and to think critically about who we are and how we operate and what we will do to ensure that our students have everything that they need to be amazing people in this world. That is an amazing opportunity for us, and it is one not to be taken lightly. I certainly don't, and I encourage you not to either. As I prepare to take my seat, because I could go on and on about what I think, because I think that my thoughts are worth thinking about and considering. But as I take my seat, I do want to say to you, I was asked, actually not too long ago, if I'm a tough leader. Am I going to be tough on people, on children, etc.? And I will say this. You'll note that the first value that I named was excellence. And I named that first for a reason. Again, I know that I'm not perfect. I know that there are plenty of things that I don't know and that I need to know and will know over time. And I know the same of you and of our children and our parents and all of those in the community. I'm clear on that. And the fact that I don't know today is not that child's fault. The fact that I don't know tomorrow is not that parent's fault. The fact that you don't know X, Y, or Z is not that child or that parent or that community member's fault. It's not their fault. We have the responsibility to be who our children and families need us to be. And so as you think about this second half of the year, as you prepare to go back into your buildings and to engage in this professional development, these professional development activities, as you prepare to talk with and engage with and support your colleagues as they prepare to go forward on this path, I want to say one thing to you. I chose to be here. I did, and mine was very public. Microphones in my face and cameras and interviews, and everybody has something to say about should he or shouldn't he be and all of that. Okay, here's the thing. You chose me, I chose you, I'm here. The other thing, though, is you, though less public, you too chose to be here. We chose you and you chose us. And here's the secret. Every day that we come back, we're choosing again. So I encourage you with love to either strap in your seatbelt and get ready to do some really amazing, groundbreaking work, changing, transforming this district. Strap in, put those seatbelts on, and be prepared for what's going to be even more challenging, because change is. Or to make the conscious decision that this is not the work that you want to do, and to professionally choose another place to be. Every one of us, with respect and all due passion and all those things, every one of us gets to choose. And so as you come here today and as you go back into your schools and on, I expect and assume that your choice is to be here. And together we're going to rewrite what it means to be here, to be a part of this team and to be a part of JPS. I love you. I care about you. I respect you, and I know that this is the best district in all of the United States. Why? Because we're all here in it. Let's do some amazing things for children. Thank you.
Okay, how do I follow that? Man. Well, I will say before I get started that Dr. Greene and I had no conversations about what he was going to say or what I was going to say today. And ironically, as I present what I have to say to you all, it's eerily similar. So I appreciate that. My name is Willis Barker. I am Jackson Public School District Parent of the Year this year. Woo. Shout out to KC Elementary. KC Elementary. What I want to share with you guys is a typical conversation that I have with a scholar when I meet him for the first time. And it kind of goes like this. I'll say, hey, how are you doing? They'll say, I'm doing fine. I'll say, how is school going? Or I may say, what school do you attend? And I'll ask them, how is school going? And of course, you guys know the classic answer, oh, it's going okay. Then I'll say, well, how was your grades? Now, be patient with me for a moment because I'm going somewhere with this. I know at this point it doesn't sound like what Dr. Greene has said, but be patient with me. So I'll say, how's your grades going? And they'll say, oh, it's going okay. And I'll say, what kind of grades are you getting? And they'll say, I'm getting a few A's, I'm getting a few B's, I'm getting a few C's. So my next question is, have you given your best effort when you've gotten those A's, when you've gotten those B's, when you've gotten those C's? And I ask that question because I have a 21-year-old that's a senior at Millsaps. Woo! She'll be graduating this year. One of the most brilliant kids I've ever met in my entire life. Got a 28 on the SAT and didn't even study. So I often, and this may sound funny to you because you're a straight A student, I often criticize her for her lack of effort. So that's why I always ask, did you give your maximum effort? And oftentimes I'll get a puzzled look, and like I said, they'll say yes, no, or maybe. So then I'll say, are you familiar with this term, D in, D out? Now, that's not the exact term that I use when I say D in and D out, but for the sake of this convocation, I'm gonna leave it to your imagination, okay? But what I say to them is, when you put D in it, you're gonna get D out of it. And so, of course, I'll get a little laugh, I get a chuckle. I love to use that illustration when I'm talking to the elementary kids because they really get a laugh out of it. But then I kind of turn the atmosphere a little bit because I say to them, what happens if you put excellence in it? What do you get out of it? Excellence. So I asked them, are you putting excellence in everything that you do? I asked them, did you put excellence in that C that you got? And if the answer is no, then I say to them, you must consider that. See, I'm going to say to all the teachers and administrators that do your part. Put your excellence in it. Because when you do your part and you put your excellence in it, excellence will eventually come out of it. Now, I can say for Casey Elementary that we put our excellence in it. Well, they put their excellence in it. And I would just ask all of you as teachers and administrators that put excellence in it, and excellence will come out of it. Every day, every single day, when I get up, I have the mindset that everything that I do, I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to put excellence in it. The award of Parent of the Year didn't come because of what I did the past school year. It comes from what I do every single day. So I would ask again, parents, teachers, administrators, put excellence in it. Let's take care of our scholars, and I promise you, the things, the position, and Jackson Public School will be a great entity. Thank you. God bless you.
Good morning, JPS. Good morning. This is truly a glorious day. Thank you, Murrah Jazz Ensemble. Thank you for all of you all who have already participated in this program, highlighting our incredibly talented students. Our music, our art, our academics, our sports, all across the district are stellar and excellent in so many ways. And on your program, you see some of our great achievements. And we here today are pledged to commit ourselves to continue to do this good work. I notice that my remarks are titled brief, and for that reason, I will do my best. Some of you know me well. I will do my best to keep them brief and say that on behalf of the board, that's why I made a few notes, we are so excited to serve as your board of trustees. All of us could not be here today. I'll let the record show we are not conducting a board meeting. But we are so happy that we do have Mr. Figures and Ms. Hilliard here and others who might have joined us since that introduction. We pledge ourselves to continue the good work that's already been done in the Jackson Public School District since its inception years and years ago. The board has never been more proud of our colleagues across this district who demonstrate every day in the midst of some of our most challenging times that they are committed, deeply committed to the success of all of our students. And with the greater Jackson community, we will continue to do this good work. We have had lots of challenges over the year, but we have had lots of successes as well as a community. We passed an amazing bond referendum with an 86% approval, which so many people said you could never do it. But this board said, well, we'd rather go down trying to help our children than to not even try at all. Thank you, Jackson, for supporting this effort. Together, we presented and continue to present our case to the Mississippi State Department of Education and have improved our accreditation status. And as our superintendent has mentioned, we were more than fortunate to have an insightful and deep thinker and activist as our mayor, who took the initiative, and our governor welcomed the partnership. And then the Kellogg Foundation stepped in, and while we are no longer official partners in the Better Together Commission, we continue to thank all of those who had that work completed, who demonstrated their commitment for the Jackson Public School District, and this board pledges to continue our rise. And with your patience, I must say, you patiently waited on the board to select an outstanding superintendent to serve us as we move forward. And when folk ask me about our superintendent, I often say, I use the term courageous, because if you look realistically at the struggle and the work we have ahead, and I know every person in this room is very familiar with our struggle and our work ahead, but we all are courageous, and we are not afraid to roll up our sleeves, work together, and serve all of our children and families across this district. We are committed to it, we can do it, and we will do it. While we do this, and while we pray, and while we work hard, we must remember, as Medgar Evers taught us, and Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer taught us, yes, pray, but move your feet. Do the work. Do the work. Do you hear me? Pray, meditate, get prepared, work together, but do this work, or as an elder in the movement told me, when the old folk was telling the young folk, y'all moving too fast. He said, well, will you respectfully step aside so that I can do the work, lest I knock you over? Now, that's what an elder in the movement told me. So when people tell us we cannot do it because it hadn't been done before, say, with respect, will you step aside so we can do this work? We are all teachers, we are all educators, we are still not afraid to work with our community and get the work done. I am on page 5. How wonderful is that in my remarks? Did I do all right, Dr. Greene? Well, let me close by saying, please know that the board respects and appreciates you. We are committed to your success, our teachers and our staff across the district. I hope you see that in our work, in our words, in our actions. I know that if you don't, you will let us know. Thank you, JPS. We are with you.
We will now share a special presentation by yours truly and Mrs. Malika Quarterman. Before we share the special recognition, on behalf of Jackson Public School District, we are so proud of all of your accomplishments.
We would like to hear all the names mentioned, so please hold your applause until all the names have been said for the designated categories. First, special recognition for the following are the top 10 schools with point increase across the accountability model.
Raines Elementary,
Lester Elementary,
Key Elementary,
Dawson Elementary,
Walton Elementary,
French Elementary,
Obama Magnet Elementary,
Power APAC,
Pecan Park Elementary,
Clausel Elementary. Congratulations.
The following are the names of top teachers in growth by subject. The honorees are seated on the floor to my left. Please stand as your name is called. And I would like to ask the audience again to please hold your applause so that we can hear the names of the individuals. Olivia Knight,
Jesse Jones, Phyllis Stringer, Rashonda Jenkins, thank you for following directions. Carla, and please stand when your name is called. Carla Profis Davis, Elmer Johnson, Brandis Harvey, Tavana Tigler, Bernadette Robertson, Latarius Hicks, and JJ Cousins. Congratulations. The next category, the following schools were ranked in the top 20 in the state of Mississippi based on the 2017-2018 map.
ranked at number 15 in the state, Key Elementary.
Ranked number 9 in the state of Mississippi, Power APAC Elementary.
And number 1, Barack Obama Magnet. Congratulations to all of you. The following schools received a C designation based on the state 2017-2018 accountability model. Walton Elementary, Northwest Middle, George Elementary, and French Elementary. Congratulations.
The following schools received a B designation based on the state 2017-2018 accountability model. We're very proud of you. Barr Elementary, Clausel Elementary, Dawson Elementary, Lester Elementary, McWillie Elementary, and Pecan Park Elementary. Congratulations for your hard work.
The following schools received an A designation based on the state 2017-18 accountability model. Bailey APAC, Baker Elementary, Obama Magnet, Casey Elementary, Key Elementary, Lake Elementary, Power APAC, Raines Elementary, Span Elementary. We'd also like to give a special recognition to Span Elementary because you all were inadvertently left off of the program, so let's give it up for Span. Congratulations to all of our A-rated schools.
The following are teachers that are top performers by division and subject. Again, the honorees are seated on the floor to our left. Please stand as your name is called, and we would like to ask the audience to hold your applause until the end of the category.
Thalisa Evans, Jennifer Tanner, Kristen Powell, Jaleisha Cleveland, Laura Clark, Cheryl Coleman, Stephanie Julian, Charlotte Rudd, Olivia Knight, Sarah Ballard, and Nimba Burgess. Congratulations. We will now proceed with our program with the following. We will have a performance by Power APAC, the introduction of our keynote speaker by Kelsey Ford, a student from Callaway High School, the delivery of the keynote address by Reverend Kevin Muriel, and closing remarks and dismissal by our own superintendent, Dr. Greene. All right, thank you all so much. Take it away, Power APAC.
Together, under the starlit skies, we set out on a journey, climbing to unimaginable heights. We danced top of mountains of past mistakes, but future promises. With the ground under our feet, we continued to fight. Ahead of us were surely challenges, but also a promised land. And so we laughed. Under these starlit skies, we realized that even though this road is challenging, with obstacles appearing at every turn, in the end, it will all be worth it. For the journey had begun ages ago, and the search was simply to find ourselves. So finally, we will climb every mountain. We will search high and low, searching for any dream that we can imagine possible. And in the end, we will discover that everything we dreamt, everything we could ever want, had been right in front of us all along, waiting for us to take it.
The Reverend Dr. Kevin R. Muriel is a biblical scholar and one of the leading visionaries and orators of this generation. He is a native Mississippian and a 2008 graduate of Jackson State University, where he earned his bachelor's degree in business administration, also being named as the 2008 Student of the Year for the College of Business. Dr. Muriel received his Master of Divinity degree from Emory University, Candler School of Theology, and his Doctor of Ministry degree from Duke University, also being named by the Dean and Doctoral Committee as the Degree Marshal of the 2014 doctoral cohort, the youngest person and first African American in the program's history to receive such a designation. An elder in full connection in the North Georgia Conference, Dr. Muriel currently leads over 7,000 members as senior pastor of Cascade United Methodist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Muriel is the author of 2 books and is the founder and owner of Red House Publishers, LLC, a publishing company committed to producing and distributing Christian books that make a difference in academic, social, and ecclesial arenas. Dr. Muriel's latest book, Breaking the Color Barrier, A Vision for Church Growth Through Racial Reconciliation, was named to the 2015 Hot New Release list on Amazon. Dr. Muriel is a community leader and faithfully serves on several boards, which include the Andrew and Walter Young Family YMCA, the North Georgia Board of Congregational Development, and the Joseph and Evelyn Lower Institute. Dr. Muriel is a member of the 100 Black Men of Atlanta and the Leadership Atlanta Class of 2019. For leading innovative change and being a conscious voice for social justice, Gammon Theological Seminary also named him the 2016 Emerging Prophetic Leader. He is married to the love of his life, Dr. Ashley Muriel, a native of Atlanta, Georgia, and they are proud parents of their daughter, Scarlett Grace. They serve as the executives of the Muriel Foundation, Incorporation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization committed to developing young leaders from minority populations. Dr. Muriel is an active member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated and believes that one should work hard to achieve in every field of human efforts. All in all, Dr. Kevin R. Muriel loves the Lord and enjoys helping others. His motto in life is live God, love God, follow God, and in all things stay the course. Please welcome Dr. Kevin R. Muriel.
Thank you, Kelsey. Good morning. Well, this is the beginning of a new day. God has given us this day to use as we will. We can waste it or use it for good. What we do today is important, for we exchange the days of our lives for it. We want it to be good, not bad, gain, not loss, success, not failure, in order that we never, ever regret the price we paid for it. This is the beginning of a new day. Again, good morning, Jackson Public Schools. It is so good to be with each of you this morning. I consider it a high privilege and a distinct honor to stand here before you. It's good to be home. Never forget where you come from. Amen. I want to say a word of gratitude to Mayor Lumumba for your courageous leadership here in the city. To Superintendent Greene, our prayers are with you as you begin this new journey. To the school board and all elected officials who are here and any dignitaries among us or anybody who just feels that they are important this morning, we welcome you. Let me say a special word to Marquita Slater, who has just been wonderful in her hospitality and setting up this speaking opportunity, and also to my family who is here with us this morning, my dad, Walter Muriel, who is the CEO of Jackson Business Systems, a small business here in Jackson, Mississippi that has serviced Jackson Public Schools for many years. I walked in this morning and many folks said, "You Walter's son?" I said, "Yes, I'm proud to be my dad's son." My mom, who's here also, I want you to know that our roots run very deep in Jackson Public Schools. My Aunt Mildred Smith, who served many years as a teacher in a Jackson Public School system, who just recently retired. My sister, Kristen Wells, who is an assistant state literacy coordinator here in the state, and also our dear family friend, Dr. Kimyana Burke, who is here, who is the state literacy director. And to every educator, student, and family member, would you give yourselves a round of applause just for showing up this morning? And while you're clapping, can we give a round of applause for these exceptional students who have been providing entertainment for us the entire morning? Briefly, I just want to talk to you about being motivated to make things better. Being motivated to make things better. It happened only a few days ago. Many of you finished unwrapping presents from around the Christmas tree. You made your New Year's resolutions, many of which have already been broken. You had a series of toasts on New Year's night to bring in the new year, or if you were like me, you were at church. Probably somewhere around this past Saturday afternoon, it hit you. School begins in only a few days. Now, some of you were excited, elated even, because you are that new teacher who thinks your little angels can do no wrong. So when school lets in tomorrow, you are going to be the first one in the building in the morning. You're going to have snacks and stickers and a whole bunch of stuff for everybody. In fact, you are so happy and so glad to be at Convocation. As you saw earlier, you've already posted on Instagram and Snapchat, letting all of your friends know how thankful you are that another semester is starting. And then there are some of you who are veterans in this thing. And on Saturday, when it hit you that school was about to begin, you bowed your head. And the first thing you said is, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And don't get me wrong, it's not that you don't love your job, it's not that you don't love your kids, but you've been in this thing long enough to know that being an educator is not like the euphoric experience that you see in Wakanda. No, it is more like the blinding, uncomfortable reality that you witnessed in Bird Box. Y'all know Bird Box. In fact, if I took a poll this morning to question each of us and use this question for consideration, how are you feeling about the semester or even being an educator? The main response from most of us would be, I don't know how I feel. I love kids, and I want to make things better for them. And if all I had to do was teach and serve the interest of the students, then I would be good. But in addition to educating, I have to deal with the craziness of certain parents. Y'all shouldn't say amen right there. That's just not a, that should not be an amen moment. Amen. You've got the pressure to get high test scores. You've got the disrespect from students and some colleagues. There is the uncertainty of a changing system. Many feel like wages are low. There is fear of school violence. You see drug abuse and use within the school system, cuts to funding and education, lack of resources, and the reality is you might not even feel like the authority in your classroom, even though you bear the title. And if all you had to do was teach, you would be good. But in 2016, Psychology Today conducted a study which concluded that about 500,000 U.S. teachers leave the profession every year. More than 41% of teachers leave the profession within 5 years of starting, and teacher attrition rate has risen significantly over the last 2 decades. The primary reason for leaving is simply burnout. But at the very same time, in 2014, a study conducted by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation found that when asked why teachers become teachers, 85% indicated that they became teachers because they want to make a difference in children's lives. And a more encouraging statistic is that 90% of students actually believe that their teachers care about their learning. And so, to be direct, no matter how tough things get at times, you are still the overwhelming inspiration and motivation that our children need today. And the truth is, making a difference in a child's life cannot simply be quantified by a paycheck or in accolades, but is qualified when the child says things to you like, if it wasn't for my teacher, or if it wasn't for my counselor, I would not be where I am today. So I've just come all the way from hot Atlanta, Georgia, to remind you that you are special and to encourage you that you must remember why you are an educator. For being an educator is not simply a job, it is a calling. For decades, my Aunt Daisy Johnson established and operated Kids Are Kids Learning Center in our small community in Brandon, Mississippi. Kids Are Kids was responsible for educating the majority of the children in our community, and it was essentially our first experience of school. I remember vividly one day after receiving a spanking in my aunt's office for being bad, for speaking out, for causing a disturbance in the class, and just a parenthetical, I could not keep count about how many spankings I got. But she said something to me after she gave me a spanking in her office that I've ever held on to. She said that your parents entrusted you to me. And I am disciplining you because I love you and I want to see you succeed. And though the spanking hurt physically, my heart was anchored in the care that I felt from my aunt and other teachers at Kids Are Kids because they loved all the children and they saw educating them as their responsibility. That's why I think today in education, more so now than ever, we need educators who love children and their families. And if you don't do it, it won't get done. That's why, much like being a pastor, being an educator is a sacred calling. You see, you serve at the intersection and often as intercessors between the home and the culture. When a child doesn't have consistency in their home, they turn to you. When they are in trouble, they turn to you. When they need guidance about life, they turn to you. And when they succeed, you are often the very first person they reach out to tell about their success. In other words, you actually have the power to speak life into young people, to literally help change the trajectory of their existence. And this is what makes your work sacred. Every week I stand as the pastor of one of the largest congregations in Atlanta, Georgia, serving over 7,000 people. And I must show a level of compassion and concern for each one of my members. In other words, no congregant is more important than another. They are all valuable. Some are interesting, some are combative, most are loving, but all are valuable. And my call is to not stop pursuing them when things get hard, but to remember why I started pastoring in the first place. It's because I was chosen to do it. And you, my friends, are chosen and gifted to do what you do. It is what you are passionate about. It keeps you motivated, and at the same time, it is your greatest source of anxiety. That is because there is always a duality in calling, a balanced scale, if you will. On the one hand, you get the greatest joy from what you do. You know how it is when you see a child finally get something right, or you know that you've gone above and beyond to bless them. And on the other hand, it causes you the most grief when they fail a test or a grade, when they get suspended and you know they can do better, or they take a step in the wrong direction and you sometimes feel like you are failing as an educator because you aren't seeing the results that you want to see in your children. But the reason that you keep on going is because when you think about the hardship, you also think about the joy that your work brings you. And so you keep on persevering. And though some students are very interesting, though some can be combative, all are valuable. And therefore, your calling as an educator has deep meaning every single day. It was C.S. Lewis that suggested that the task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles, but to irrigate deserts. And you have the power to inspire your students, to affirm them, and to even help them to discern their future, whether they want to be the next Langston Hughes, Michelle Obama, LeBron James, W.E.B. Du Bois, Jay-Z, or Cardi B. You can fuel their dreams just by your words and your presence in their lives. And whether or not you realize it, your presence can be the source of protection for our children from the R. Kellys of the world, who seek to rob them of their dignity. And so, in closing, I just want to illustrate briefly how important your role is to inspire our young people towards greatness using one of my favorite childhood stories. You see, there was a group of frogs one day that were traveling through the woods. Two of them fell into a deep pit. When the other frogs crowded around the pit and saw how deep the pit was, they told the two frogs that there was no hope of them getting out of the pit. However, the two frogs decided that they were going to have enough determination and tenacity to try to jump out of the pit. But despite their efforts, the group of frogs that were at the top of the pit kept on yelling down to the frogs in the pit, "Stop trying to get out of the pit, because you're never going to make it. You might as well stay down there and give up." Eventually, one of the frogs took the advice of those who were at the top of the pit, and he decided to give up and stop jumping. But the other frog continued to jump as high as he could. He jumped and he jumped. And while he was jumping, the other frogs on the top of the pit kept telling him, "Man, stop jumping. You're never going to make it out of the pit." And as they were talking down to him, he kept jumping harder and harder and harder to get out of the pit, until finally the frog who refused to stop jumping got out of the pit. So the frogs who were at the top of the pit, who were discouraging him to stay in the pit, came up to him and they said, "Brother, why did you keep on jumping when we kept discouraging you to stay in the pit?" The frog said, "It's simple. When I fell into the pit, I got some dirt in my ears. So as you were discouraging me, I couldn't hear anything you were saying. And I thought your discouragement was encouragement, because all I saw was what you were trying to say to me. But because I wasn't listening to the discouragement, I got out of the pit." You are here at JPS this morning because you are the encouragement that these children need to get out of the inevitable pits of life, and you need to speak life into these children, and your words matter. So walk forward this year speaking, because what you say is going to get some child out of their pit. Thank you so much. God bless you, and you all have a wonderful year.